LSU. Reshaping Futures.
Good afternoon, Lasallians. I am Angel Kagud and welcome to the Presidential and Vice Presidential Forum 2022 of the Basic Education Unit. The time has finally come, and the aspiring Lasallian leaders who will take the torch and ignite the passion of leadership will take the mic and speak their hearts out. This Presidential and Vice Presidential Forum 2022 is to review their policy records and reveal who they are and where they stand on issues that matter to us. Also, this is a test of skills and competencies, so you can make a side-by-side comparison of their personal and leadership history. To officially begin this forum, let us have first an opening prayer, and please remain standing for the national anthem.
Let me be the change I want to see, to do with strength and wisdom all that needs to be done, and become the hope that I can be. Set me free from my fears and hesitation. Let the courage and humility fill me with spirit to face the challenge. It's all the change I long to see. Today I start the change I want to see. Even if I'm not the light, I can be the spark in faith, service, and communion. Let us start the change we want to see, the change that begins in me. Today I start the change I want to see.
Even if I'm not the light,
If I'm not the light, I can be the spark. Faith, service, and communion. Let us start the change we want to see, the change that begins in me.
Jesus in us.
Jesus in us.
Mayang magiliw, pala sa silangan, alalag ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan na ng magiliw, sa manlulupig, di ka masisi. Sa lahat ng mundong sasimuyan, sa langit mamakaw, manilag ang tulad, awit sa panlayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagbibigay. Ang bituin at araw na kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng ating pagsinta mo ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng
is the capacity to translate vision into reality. That is why we are here today to inform and serve you, our fellow Lasallians, ahead of the July 13 to 15 election. Today, we want to dig deeper, better understand, and of course, challenge our candidates. We will find out who is fitting, ready, and deserving to lead. Now it's time to bring them in. Here are your candidates. Let us begin with John Philip N. Talaba from the Accountancy Business Management strand and a candidate for the position of Integrated School Student Government President. Next is Jeanette Joy C. Lim from Accountancy Business Management strand and a candidate for the position of Integrated School Student Government Vice President for Administration. And lastly, Shireen Blanche V. Cagbabanwa from Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics strand, a candidate for the position of Integrated School Student Government Vice President for Administration. Thank you so much, candidates, and welcome to our Presidential and Vice Presidential Forum 2022. And good luck. It has become customary for candidates, particularly for President and Vice President, to engage in a forum. It is a structured argument that requires rules, among them, limits on speaking time to ensure fairness. Each candidate will be given a minimum of 45 seconds or 5 seconds and a maximum of 60 seconds or 60 seconds in answering the questions. Each of the candidates is obliged to answer 2 questions per category. There will be a bowl in front of the candidates within the numbers. The candidate will draw a number from the bowl corresponding to the question that they will answer. So here are the categories of questions. For the first category, we have student-based questions. For the second category, we have general questions. And for the last category, we have random questions. Now here's the lineup of the candidates who will answer the questions. First will be the President. Second is the Vice President of Administration. And lastly, the Vice President for Academics. To help you keep track of the time, you will hear this sound. To signal you have 15 seconds left. You will also hear this sound to indicate that your time is up. Now that we're clear on the rules of our forum, let us proceed with our first category. At this point, you will be answering student-based questions. And let us begin with JP.
Number 2.
JP, here is your question. Why did you run for an office in the Integrated School Student Government? Again, why did you run for an office in Integrated School Student Government?
During my current term as the Vice President for Administration, I have met a lot of people who has contributed to my growth and development as a leader. And I believe that if I ran for office in the ISSG for president, I believe that I have more to offer, especially in my party's platform in the field of student culture and life, in reform and in values. Thank you.
Thank you so much, JP. And now let us proceed with Jeanette. You may now pick your question.
Number 10.
Here's your question. As the brain of the organization, how will you resolve conflict? Again, as the brain of the organization, how will you resolve conflict?
As the brain of the organization, how will I resolve conflict? Now, this question here is actually one of the main duties as VP of Administration because I am my one of my duties is to handle the internal affairs of the student government itself. So as to resolve the conflicts and everything, like for example, the difference of opinions and all, the first thing that I will need to do is to have them negotiate and discuss their differences. And of course, I would be there as to act as a mediator. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. And now let us proceed with Shireen.
Number 4.
Number 4. Shireen, here is your question. What are your platform or platforms for the next school year, 2022 to 2023? Again, what are your platform or platforms for the next school year, 2022 to 2023?
Well, in our party Sandigan, we focus on student life and culture, reforms and values. So as running for the Vice President for Academics, my plans for school year 2022-2023 will be to continue the virtual town halls that was started by 2 of the year-level coordinators last school year, so that we will provide an avenue for the students to address their concerns and feedbacks directly to their respective coordinators. Another would be to bring back the clubs, especially the academic ones, so that so that our students would be able to enjoy their interests and share their opinions with other people. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shireen, and thank you so much, candidates. And that ends our first round for the first category. Now, let us proceed with our round 2 for the first category. We have 3 aspiring Lasallian student leaders here in one stage today to answer the second round of our student-based questions. Still, we begin with you, Philip. You may now pick your question.
Number 5.
JP, how will you address the needs of those students who are struggling in their online classes? Give concrete examples. Again, how will you address the needs of those students who are struggling in their online classes?
Among the issues that students have encountered, and I have personally heard, some of these issues are, for example, the lack of resources, meaning many of our students do not have access to a stable internet connection. Many of our students do not have an access to a stable internet connection. If only the student government could gather resources that will help these students, such as finding mobile data allowances that would help these students in their studies, it would be a great help to these students. Also, the mental health issues, it is very rampant in this pandemic, and I believe that we should strengthen our support systems that we have in our institution that would help these students go through this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, JP. And now let us proceed with you, Jeanette.
Nine. No, 6.
Okay, your question, Jeanette, is how will you convince a grade 12, a grade 10 student from the other school to enroll himself or herself in LaSalle University. Again, how will you convince a grade 10 student from the other school to enroll himself or herself in LaSalle University?
I would convince that upcoming grade 11 students to enroll here in LaSalle University because I will convince them as sharing my personal experience that I have experienced here in LaSalle being a senior high school student. And so far, being a senior high student here in LaSalle University, it had developed me to grow as a student and also as a Lasallian and also as a person. They gave LaSalle University gives many opportunities to grow, especially with academics and also extracurricular ones. For example, one of the organization that I have excelled in is debate, and I to my fellow debaters who are grade 10, upcoming grade 11, I urge you to enroll here in LaSalle University. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeanette. And now, the last but not the least, we have Shireen. Number 9. Shireen, here is your question. What do you think is the biggest problem that the students are facing today? And why do you say so? Again, what do you think is the biggest problem that the students are facing today? And why do you say so?
I believe that the biggest problem that the students are facing today concerns with their mental well-being because I've heard a lot of stories from different people who just genuinely do not want to do their ACADS anymore because their mental well-being wasn't really in the best state. And so we and so with that problem, we wish to address the problem about mental well-being through through the webinars that have been going on since last school year. If we can continue those webinars, then it would be really helpful for those who are struggling with their mental well-being. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shireen, and thank you so much, candidates. And that ends our first category. Thank you so much, our aspiring Lasallian leaders, for answering the first set of questions.
One of the most reputable private higher.
However, we still have many questions to ask when we return. This is a Presidential and Vice Presidential Forum 2022.
One of the most reputable private higher education institutions in northern Mindanao, LaSalle University is committed to its academic excellence as a PAA School Level 2 accredited institution. Tracing back the rich and colorful history of LaSalle University, the De La Salle brothers in 1990 agreed to assist in the academic supervision of then Immaculate Conception College. 4 years later, it was formally turned over to the De La Salle brothers and named it Immaculate Conception College LaSalle. In 2006, ICC LaSalle was granted the university status by the Commission on Higher Education and changed its name to LaSalle University. In the same year, the university was granted to admit foreign students by the Bureau of Immigration. Since then, LaSalle University has opened its doors to the world with college programs that are globally competent.
And we are back. We apologize for having some technical problems. Anyway, let us proceed with our second category. At this point, we will be asking our aspiring Lasallian leaders general questions. Still, we begin with the candidate for president, JP Talaba.
Number 6.
Number 6. JP, here is your question. If you will become the next president, who among the members of your organization you think is the most important member and why? Again, if you will become the next president, who among the members of your organization you think is the most important member and why?
I think one of the problems of the organization, of any student government organization, is that we fail to recognize our students as members of the organization. We must not recognize students as our subjects or those that we govern, but we must recognize them as our partners and members. So yes, that is my answer. I think the students are the most important members of the organization, since in the first place, there wouldn't be a government or there wouldn't be leaders if it weren't for them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, JP. Very well said. And now, let us proceed with Jeanette.
Number 5.
And your question, Jeanette, is, what will you do when you are unsure about how to achieve the goals of the team? Again, what will you do when you are unsure about how to achieve the goals of the team?
Is one of the common problems that us student leaders usually face, especially when it comes to planning. And personally speaking, the thing that I do when I am unsure about how to achieve the goals of the team is that I will persevere and I will reorganize my thoughts and also the collected information that we have so far, because I know that through the rippled water, there will always be a way to make sure the goal will be achieved in the end. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Very well said, Jeanette. And now for the last question for our first round, we have Shireen.
Number 7.
Number 7. Here is your question, Shireen. Who among the leader or the leaders whom you know that you look up to and try to model yourself after? Again, who among the leader or leaders whom you know that you look up to and try to model yourself after?
Among the leaders that I know and that I look up to and I try to model myself after is someone that I can't really say their name out loud since I don't want to intrude on their privacy, but there's this person in our lives that showed me how fulfilling it is to be a leader. He has shown me how to guide myself through conflicts within the organization, within the families, and just any other conflict within the team. And I have learned a lot from him, and I really take away from the lessons that I got from him.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, your time, Shireen, is already up. And now, thank you so much, candidates. That ends our first round for our general questions. Now, let us proceed with our round 2 for the second category. We have 3 aspiring Lasallian student leaders here in one stage today to answer the second round of our general questions. Still, we begin with you, JP Talaba.
4.
Number 4. JP, here is your question. What is the most difficult part of being a leader? Again, what is the most difficult part of being a leader?
The most difficult part of being a leader is when you no longer know what to do, when you no longer have the direction, and when you no longer have the ideas. It is hard and it is very difficult because many people would look up to you in those times of need. And when those leaders no longer know what to do, then it would cause conflicts within the organization. Thank you.
Thank you so much, JP. And now we proceed with Jeanette.
Number 10.
Jeanette, here is your question. What traits do you think a leader must have and why? Again, what traits do you think a leader must have and why?
There are three main traits that I think a leader must have, and that is to be capable, and next is to be flexible, and for the last one, which is very crucial, especially in our time, is to be positive. And to be capable is something a leader should have. It is a fundamental aspect that one leader should contain because you are there to lead a body of people, and you are their their spokesperson. You are not the you can say that you are in control, but you shouldn't be the boss. But you need to have capable ideas. You need to you need to be able to think and decide of which is the most beneficiary thing to do. And next is would be the to be flexible, especially like right now, due to the setback, the sudden setback, many plans were canceled because of the pandemic. And last would be to be positive because in these trying times we need to remain a smile on our face. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. And last but not the least, we have Shireen.
Number 2.
Number 2. Shireen, here is your question. Are you more effective in a group or one-on-one basis? Again, are you more effective in a group or one-on-one basis?
I would take this question on, it depends on what situation it is, because although I am very aware that I can do most of the things on my own because I was raised in an environment that led me to become that way, I genuinely also believe that to be in a group, you are given more ideas, you're left with different opinions and creative minds that when you are going to make something, when you're going to make an output, being in a group would be very beneficial because these creative minds could create something really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shireen. And that ends our second category. Thank you so much, our aspiring Lasallian leaders, for bringing your expertise and experience around the table. However, still, we have many questions to ask when we return. This is a Presidential and Vice Presidential Forum 2022. And we are back. Let us proceed now with our third category. We have 3 aspiring Lasallian student leaders here in one stage today to answer the first round of our random questions. Now we begin with the candidate for president, Mr. JP Talaba.
Number 9.
Number 9. JP, here is your question. How do you feel traits like empathy and vulnerability play a role in your leadership? Again, how do you feel traits like empathy and vulnerability play a role in your leadership?
I think we have forgotten that even a leader is a human being. And being a human being means you must have empathy and you must be vulnerable. This does not mean that you are weak, but this means that you are able to accept any feedback or anything or any comment that people may give you. It is very important for a leader to have empathy since it will allow you to relate to your people and to your partners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, JP. And now we proceed with the candidate for Vice President for Administration, Jeanette.
Number 6.
Number 6. Jeanette, here is your question. What is the most dangerous trait in a leader's career? Again, what is the most dangerous trait in a leader's career?
Being a leader, the stereotype of it is that you are seated in a very high position. You are in power. And that's why I can say that the most dangerous trait in a leader's career is to be overwhelmed with the idea of power, where you will lose your sight, your goals in the initial first place, your whys, and you just lead it by abusing the power that you have, and which will then be the detriment of the organization. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. And now we proceed with Shireen, the candidate for Vice President of Academics.
Number 7.
Number 7. Shireen, here is your question. As an organization gets larger, there can be a tendency for the institution to dampen the inspiration. How do you keep this from happening? Again, as an organization gets larger, there can be a tendency for the institution to dampen the inspiration. Now, how do you keep this from happening?
The inspiration for student leaders to take on the challenge and lead their fellow, the student body, is because they have the ambition, they have the vision to make a change or do something that could benefit the students. And yes, as the organization gets larger, there can be a tendency for the institution to dampen the inspiration. And we can keep this from happening by empowering our students, because at the very first place, our students we serve the students. So when we empower them, when we show them that they have the choice to do something about a certain thing, then we can keep this fire burning.
Thank you so much, Shireen, and thank you so much, candidates. Now, let us proceed with our round 2 for the third category. We have 3 aspiring Lasallian student leaders here in one stage today to answer the second round of our random questions. Still, we begin with you, JP Talaba.
Number 1.
Number 1. Here is your question, JP. What is one decision you wish you didn't make? Again, What is one decision you wish you didn't make?
One decision that I wish I didn't make was to subject myself into isolation at a very young age. As early as possible, I should have exposed myself to communities that matter in the present. Recently, I have did that. I have exactly did that, and it was a very fulfilling experience. And if I did that at an earlier age, at an earlier time, I would have experienced more wonderful memories. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip. And now we proceed with you, Jeanette. Pardon?
3.
Number 3. Jeanette, here is your question. What do you think are the lacking qualities of today's leaders? Again, what do you think are the lacking qualities of today's leaders?
No, this is unfortunate to say, but I think the lacking qualities that today's leaders lack is humility. Many of the present leaders that we have right now are very detached from the reality, from the real world. They show this performative side of them being humble, but yes, we truly lack the quality of real humility within the students' leaders. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. And, of course, the last but not the least, we have Shireen.
Number 10.
Number 10. Shireen, here is your question. How do you lead brainstorming and foster creativity among others? Again, how do you lead brainstorming and foster creativity among others?
In a group setting, usually during our performance tasks, there would always be that one member that goes, "Hey, let's do this because this is my idea. Let's see if this is feasible, and then we can try to do it." And then with the conversation starter, that conversation starter will then create a domino effect. The other members of the group will then start to contribute their ideas, their creativity into making the output even better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shireen. And thank you so much, candidates, because that ends our third category.
LaSalle
Thank you so much,
University.
our aspiring Lasallian leaders, for answering the last set of questions with courage and honesty. Also, thank you so much for bringing your expertise and experience around the table. We will wait to hear from our candidates to deliver their final speech containing their advocacies and platforms after this short break. This is the Presidential and Vice Presidential Forum 2022.
University is fully equipped with top-of-the-line facilities and amenities to match the demands of the advancing technology. Our Lady of the Star Chapel is a venue for students to strengthen their faith in God. The multifunctional audiovisual room, advanced library system, the 3,000 capacity art center, well-suited indoor and outdoor sports facilities, reliable bus system, well-furnished university clinic, safe and cozy dormitory with free Wi-Fi and no power interruption. Today, LaSalle University is and will continue to lead in reshaping the futures of the young and the continuing professionals. LaSalle University, reshaping futures.
are back. At this point, you are given the chance to deliver your final speech containing your advocacies and platforms. You are given 60 seconds or 60 seconds to deliver your final speech. And now, let us start with the candidate for the position of Integrated School Student Government President, Mr. John Philip N. Talaba.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm John Philip Talaba, running for ISSG President. 5 years ago, when I entered Lasallian University, I did not have plans to stay for another year. The institution was never my first choice for my secondary education. Now, I only have nothing but courage to those who encouraged me to stay. Since I am now in my last school year in the basic education in this upcoming school year, electing me and my party, Sandigan, means a fight for a better student life and culture, effective reforms, and even the upholding of Lasallian values. I would like to leave my fellow students a better culture wherein their environment and fellow students allow them and encourage them to excel despite the limitations subjected to them by this pandemic. I would like to leave the next generation of student leaders a better landscape wherein they can perform efficiently and effectively. After all, the final job of leaders is to make sure that they're not the last. After all, Sandigan is a party that you can rely on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip. What a nice speech. And now, let us proceed with the candidate for the position of Integrated School Student Government Vice President for Administration. We have Jeanette Joy C. Lim.
Those who can lead themselves can lead others. And I have no inch of doubt that the student body will lead with a full respect of human dignity and without discrimination, with me being the Vice President for Administration. With this position, I commit myself to the students, the body, and the activities that are devoted for LaSalle Alzheimer's progression. And I ensure that that you will see the change in this university by focusing on the three main values. However, it's not limited to the culture and student life, the reforms, and the values together with my party, Sandigan. And I am Jeanette Lim, everyone, and I am, to my fellow Lasallians, I am honored to have your vote and support as being the Vice President for Administration.
Very well said. Thank you so much, Jeanette. And now, last but not the least, we have the candidate for the position of Integrated School Student Government Vice President for Administration. We have Shireen Blanche V. Cagbabanwa.
Being the current Vice President for Academics and now running for re-election, it's been quite of a ride. I was thrown into this position. I was appointed by our advisor, and I genuinely didn't really know if I could do it. But with their support, with the guidance of the mentors, as well as the leadership workshops that I have attended, I can say that I would be very fit for the role. Together with our parties, our Sandigan, our plans for the upcoming school year will connect with the student life and culture, values, and reforms. Thank you.
Very well said. Thank you so much, Shireen. And thank you so much to our candidates. Now, Lasallians, there you have it. You heard it straight from the candidates themselves. Now, the decision is yours. Thank you so much, candidates, for showing up in the most difficult times and for your participation in our democratic process. I would also like to thank those of you who are watching on our digital platforms. Also, thank you so much, Educational and Digital Media Services team, Leadership Development and Wellness Office, and Student Activities Center for making this happen. And also, do not forget to like and visit the LaSalle University Ozamis Facebook page and University Student Government official Facebook page to get regular updates. Also, let me plug the Gubernatorial and Vice Gubernatorial Forum 2022. Watch as we stream via Canvas and YouTube, which will take place tomorrow, July 5, 2022 at 10 a.m. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our Presidential and Vice Presidential Forum 2022. Again, I am Angel Kagud, your host for today. Animo, Lasalle.
Hail alma mater, hail today, LaSalle. We'll hold your banner high and bright, a shield of green and white. We'll fight to keep your glory bright, and never shall we fail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, hail, hail, hail. Hail, hail, alma mater, hail to the LaSalle. We'll hold your banner high and bright, a shield of green and white. We'll fight to keep your glory bright, and never shall we fail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, hail, hail, hail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, hail.